You truly never know what is lurking just below the surface of a small town, and that's precisely the case with story-rich adventure title Mondealy. Before we get caught up in the magic and the monsters of Mondealy, might I remind you about the I Dream of Indie Games Patreon, where you can meet the most marvelous little indie gaming community on the surface? Check out the link in the description for more details on all the excitement going on there. And now back to your regularly scheduled broadcast. First, let's briefly break down the plot of Mondealy. Here, we'll take control of a young man named Michael, who just lost a job and is generally down on his luck. After meeting up with a friend at their usual hangout, an accidental tumble through the floorboards transports him to the unusual underground kingdom of Dargrat, teeming with magic, monsters, collectibles, and more. You'll encounter all types of characters, from the depressed and despondent king to his spunky daughter, the Princess Riley, Corsic, their royal assistant, and whatever Rufus is. Okay, quick break from plot weaving here, but is he a naked mole rat? Because if not, he really should be. Comment, what's the sitch, if you catch my drift. I don't want this review to encroach on spoiler territory because I do believe the world of Mondealy is worth exploring at your leisure, but let's just say that Michael will foster relationships with many of Dargrat's inhabitants who will share their secrets, fears, and desires with him. And those, my friends, are the ingredients for adventure. As far as gameplay goes, you can expect a lot of reading, a bit of decision making, and many a fetch quest. I don't say that with any sort of negative connotation, as I knew precisely what I was getting into when I booted up this game. This is a casual, story-rich game. You'll be navigating Michael around the above-ground town and below the surface through 4 distinct districts. You are able to run, though some of your companions may have a thing or two to say about this feature. Exploration is often encouraged, as there are cassette tapes to collect to expand your library of songs, as well as other items to discover, and so many folks to interact with. Some of your interactions do have an impact later on in the story, which I found super charming. I do regret pushing the Batgirl off of her perch, okay, but the intrusive thoughts one. Feeling a bit lost? A built-in hint system serves as a quick and easy way to remind you of your next task or destination. This is a great and non-obtrusive way to take potential frustration out of the mix. As far as the story goes, it was mostly lighthearted, though it does delve into some pretty heavy topics such as depression, chronic illness, parental death, and drug use. There's nothing really graphic in this title, but fair warning that just because it's cute and cozy does not mean it is all sunshine and pixelated rainbows. I think this developer has a fantastic grasp on how to balance the humor with the darker subject matter, and it's done quite tastefully. While certainly reminiscent of some of its inspirational material like Undertale, it didn't break any new ground, just the floorboards and the old tower ruins, but I did enjoy it, and it was a perfect game to come home from work and unwind with. Doing some research on this title while I'm recording this, I did note that the dev is not a native English speaker, which may have accounted for some of the slight grammatical miscalculations in the version I played. But there was never a point that I couldn't understand what the writer was trying to convey, and the tone and intention always shone through clearly. In fact, some of the text became accidental poetry, and I think that's kind of beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, take a gander at this artwork, will ya? Love it or hate it, pixel art is here to stay, and Mondealy has such a lovely take on this artistic style. There's a great variety to the landscapes you'll explore, both above and below ground, from sandy beaches to lush forests, cities, castles, fields, and seedy alleyways. All the while, you'll meet an eclectic cast of characters, each with their own look and personality. You can even change the appearance of our protagonist Michael with new outfits, accessories, and hairstyles. Fun little touches like a headband that actually appears when you equip it makes all the difference. And the soundtrack, you know, the one you can collect with all the cassette tapes and records and such. A tremendous effort was put into making this a memorable and varied soundtrack. There are so many genres, tempos, and styles packed into this music. I would be shocked if you didn't find at least one track that resonates with you. I discovered my personal favorites in the Water District, but I loved almost all of them and was tickled by the little boombox in my also customizable room where I could play through all of the tracks I collected. No voice acting here, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, I would rather have no voice acting over bad voice acting any day of the week, including Mondealy. What? I had to make the joke at least once, okay? I'd much rather use my imagination than try to overlook a performance that just wasn't cutting it in a particular scene. We do get distinct sound effects for each character's text, which when paired with the fun portrait art does plenty to provide personality. For settings, you'll be able to select different text sizes, turn icons on and off, and toggle controls. Though Mondealy is not a particularly demanding or challenging title, there are a fair amount of options to customize your gameplay. If possible for the future, it would be great to add the option to turn off the stylized, pixelated text in order to make reading easier, especially since there is so much reading to do. So what's the dealie with Mondealy? It's a great little adventure title that should take you just into the double digits of hours to roll credits. Mileage may vary depending on how much of a completionist you are. The story has heart, even if it is a bit cliche at times. Art features a gorgeous, mystical world to lose yourself in with a diverse soundtrack to boot. Don't expect any strenuous combat or logic puzzles, but do expect to fight back a few tears. I really enjoyed this title, and I greatly look forward to what's next for this dev. Thank you for watching, and don't forget, if you want to discover other fantastic titles like Mondealy that are under the radar of the echo chamber, do yourself a favor and subscribe for more recommendations. Also, check out patreon.com/idreamofindiegames to join the community where you can share indie gems, chat with like-minded folks, get early access to content, exclusive live streams, and so much more. Your community is waiting for you.